Hi everyone, how you doing today? My name is Olu Olabode and I'm glad to be with you again today on my YouTube channel. So I have my husband here with me again today.
Hi everyone, good to be here again today.
So I think the last 3 weeks we started talking about relationship talk, and we started this series on relationships. So we call it relationship talk. And the first one we talked about plan your marriage before you plan your wedding. That was we did the first part and then we did the second part last week. If you haven't watched it, please feel free to go onto YouTube and you can watch it there. It's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, you can watch it as well and send it to anyone you feel might need it. Today we want to talk about conflict resolution in relationships, mainly conflict resolution in marriage, but it really can apply to any relationship where there's two people or more. But we're going to specify on marriage, but it can apply to siblings, co-workers, anyone you have a relationship with, really, it applies to them. So we just want to talk. Conflict resolution is a big thing, I think, and it brings about a lot of you need it to be able to deal with a lot of issues in marriage. So we're just going to touch on that today.
We were saying before we came on and on air, we conflict resolution is a huge part of for a marriage to be healthy, for a relationship to be healthy. You must have a strategy for conflict resolution. And for example, before we got married, during our courtship year, we talked about how to resolve conflict. We talk about the issue of third party. We talk about, okay, if something happened between us, there's a disagreement between us, there are issues to be ironed out, we will not sleep over them. We will make sure it is resolved the night before, that same day before we go to bed. And in almost 18 years, I think we've done a pretty good job. God has helped us in that area, and we've also been committed to that as well.
And then we also said that we won't involve any third party, really. I remember we called my dad and we called my mother-in-law and we told them that anything you can't talk about, we told my mother-in-law, anything you can't discuss in front of the two of us, throw it out, don't discuss it. We called my dad and we told him as well, anything you can't discuss, don't bother discussing it. So they both knew that when you want to resolve conflict, there has to be either of us, you have to call the two of us. So that shut out a lot of issues, because before then they were thinking that they would call my husband or they'll call me, they'll call either of us. But once we told them that, they knew they had to sit with the two of us. So there were a lot of things that they didn't even bother discussing. And that was it. So it's so, because I found out a lot of times third party plays a big role. Once third party starts coming in, it becomes he said, she said, they said, and then they escalate it, they take it out of context, or they blow it out of proportion. But when it's just the two of you, a lot of time you can still scale it down, you can find a way to settle it without anybody. And another thing I found out is that once third parties get involved, even when you have forgotten about the issue, you've forgotten about it, third parties hardly forget. Your mother-in-law will still remind you 2 years down the lane about what happened, blah blah blah. Your sister-in-law will still remind you. So they hardly forget. Whereby if it's just the two of you, you've forgotten, you've forgiven each other, and then that's it, is done.
Yeah. So talking about strategies, what are the steps? Like you said, relationship will be tested. Human relation will always be tested. And one of the things that leads to conflict is actually unmet expectation. We talked about that last week. When we set unrealistic expectation, when you expect the other person to complete you, and that is not the case, you expect the other person to make you happy, and that is not necessarily the case, and expect them to do certain things for you, and they're not capable of doing that. That can lead to conflict whereby you are disappointed because your expectations are not met. So, what are the strategies? What are the steps that we can take in resolving conflict? So, we'll start with that. So, like we said, there must be a strategy in place.
And the strategy also, in talking about the strategy, we talk about we have to find a time to talk. There has to be a time to talk. You set a time. This could be, you have an issue with a co-worker, you have an issue with your children, you have an issue with anybody, a relationship,
talk about
a marriage. You have to set a time to talk, and then you have to make a conscious effort to listen to the other person.
Yeah, there's something I heard. Just put that in. there's this couple. What they did was they had something like a ball, a little ball. So when it's your turn to talk, you hold the ball. All right, and then the other person will not say anything, because most of the time conflict doesn't get resolved because you are expressing how you feel about a particular situation and the other person is interrupting you. That make you feel more upset. But so what this couple does is one person holds onto the ball, and when the person is holding onto the ball, the person is talking. All right, and when it's your turn to talk, the person pass the ball to you, and then you talk, and then when you are done, you talk, and that way they are able to resolve their conflict. They're able to deal with it, because when you deal with it, you are halfway there.
And I think another thing is that when the other person is talking, don't start preparing your answer. Because sometimes somebody is talking
It depends.
and we're not even listening. We're just thinking, okay, you said I'm going to think of how I'm going to answer you back. So you're already thinking. So while the person is talking, you're not really listening. You're just thinking of the answer. So I think it's necessary for us to also just listen and not prepare an answer to give. Just listen, and then when they're done, then you can start to process whatever the person has said, instead of just listening to answer, because we do that a lot. We just listen.
Because when you listen and you are not necessarily listening to answer, what you can do is you hone your own part of the conflict. It helps you to see, to shift through things and say, okay, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, maybe your part in the whole conflict is 70%, 30%, 40%. You hone your own part, and that also enables the other person that you are in conflict with to hone their own part as well.
Okay. I think another thing we can. So the first thing is, have a strategy to resolve conflicts. Yeah. Another thing is, you don't always have to have the last word. A lot of us like to have the last word, so we don't always have to have the last word in every conflict. Like my dad had this saying that I just grew to like when I was little. If he has a conflict with you and you start arguing back and forth, he will say one thing to you. He'll say it in my native language. I agree with you even if you don't agree with me. So whatever you say, I agree with you. I'm not going to keep arguing with you. That's what he means. So what he's saying is that let's just shut it down. And he's ready to make peace. He'll just agree with you. So once he says that, you just get paralyzed, like, okay, I really don't have anything else to say. And you actually now feel remorseful and think, oh, maybe I should really need to keep quiet now.
Yeah, but the
argument is over.
The shutting it down doesn't mean, because I know maybe someone is out there, you're thinking, oh, you will shut it down. Okay, the shutting it down doesn't mean you sweep it under the carpet. It means that, because I live by a principle, like a tug of war, there's a rope, the other side is pulling, and this side is pulling. When you let go of the rope, there is nothing to pull anymore. So I've learned to, even sometimes in our own relationship, sometimes I'm right, and I can stand on, oh, I'm right, you're wrong in this situation. But sometimes I take the blame, be the big man. I take the blame, and just for the sake of peace, because at the end of the day, you don't want to win at the expense of the peace between you in that relationship. You don't want to just say, oh, I want to win so that you feel cool that you won. It's not about winning. It's about winning together.
Okay. So as you can see, there's a lot to talk about in conflict resolution. So we're going to continue this next week. But I want to leave you with a verse. It's in Ephesians 4 verse 2 and 3. It says, always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. Make every effort to keep yourselves united in the spirit, binding yourselves together with peace. That would hold you this week. And look forward to the concluding part of this next week, and have a great week ahead. You can connect with me on oluwalabode.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Love to hear from you. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next week again.